Here today on the channel, we're doing another Scroots deck. This one actually won Mr. Classic. It was piloted by Mr. Brian Jones at the most recent Mr. Classic tournament. Let's get into it. At this deck's core, it's a deck that uses purple royalty bundled with the Throne of David to get a really strong attack, and then it uses a Babylonian defense. So Throne of David says, when your Purple Brigade King is blocked, if no evil characters in battle has a weapon, you may draw X cards and play an OT Purple Brigade enhancement, where X is the number of evil brigades your opponent has in play. I would like to say I apologize if it's hard to read. That's just how the cards were back then, but I'll just do my best to read them out loud for you guys. And so the idea is, if you attack with the new King Hiram, you can play this good OT fortress from your deck. And King Solomon, I know it's impossible to read what he does, but he says, look at opponent's hand, search deck for an OT fortress, and put it into play. So you can use your King Hiram or King Solomon to turbo out your Throne of David. The other royalty he's using is King Lemuel, so you can get back your OT purple enhancements from discard pile with this, which is pretty nice. King Hezekiah is good because he can ban to an Isaiah, and Isaiah says protect purple kings from opponents cannot be negated. So that just seems kind of busted to me. There's a King David, says may not be blocked by any member of any royal family. I guess this is the strongest purple King David there is. I don't know. Seems situationally okay. King Amaziah, once per game you may choose an evil king of Israel to block. If this hero is captured, you may add your OT hero to battle. So not only is he good against Unholy Writ and go into captivity and magic charms, which are these artifacts that are really good at capturing heroes in battle, he's playing a card called Valley of Salt that cannot be negated if used by King Amaziah. So this one is to interrupt the battle and discard X evil characters or put them beneath their deck, where X is the number of your OT warrior class heroes. So pairing this card with King Amaziah really strong. Hadassah is a territory class character that protects OT heroes from discard abilities. So Christian Martyrs really big in this format. Haman's Plot really big. And Hadassah just shuts them off. And I guess if she attacks, she can take the Amalekites Slave from deck. Abigail says you may draw X, where X is the number of your OT warrior class heroes. Protect characters in your territory and lost souls in opponent's territory from evil cards. In this format, there's a lot of cards like Belshazzar's Banquet that are trying to protect lost souls from rescue. So if you attack with Abigail and you protect their lost souls, any cards that they play to try to protect them are going to be ineffective. And you can also ban to David. So 412 Abigail banded to 1111 David. So that's a lot of numbers. Ezekiel's Stick may look like a weird card to play, but the idea is if you have a Throne of David out and they block, you can play your Ezekiel Stick and add Ahimelek the Hittite, who can return an evil character to owner's hand, cannot be negated if David's in play. So this can just win you the battle straight up on a cannot be negated. In the Scroots format, having things that are cannot be negated is so strong. So just playing like weird cards like this is pretty good. You can also ban in Ahimelek with the United Kingdom, which is also cannot be negated if used by David. The Axe of Solomon is great. Negate an evil enhancement, you may underdeck an evil card from opponent's hand. So before they're allowed to play interrupt the battle or negate card, this card effect has to resolve. So if they only have one negate in their hand, you can play this and then take that negate and underdeck it, and the opponent is just left out in the rain. Counsel of Abigail, interrupt the battle if used by OT hero. Return an evil card to the bottom of owner's deck. Cannot be prevented by an evil card. It's just like a really solid interrupt the battle, kill something. And Pentecost. Set aside all of your human heroes for one turn. On return, you may draw 3 cards. So back in the old days, you used to have these cards called set aside cards, and you could play them during your prep or discard phase. Or I don't know if you can play them during your discard phase, but they would last for a certain duration and your guys would come back and you get cool things. And this card just basically says draw 3 cards. So that's the offense. Let's take a look at the defense now. Here's a new card from Roots called Moths. You may discard an artifact if your opponent has used a draw ability this turn, protect lost souls from rescue. So this is a really good block if opponent's just attacking, drawing cards, and you're just like, Moth, block, die. Judas is not a Babylonian either, but he is really solid. He's protected from convert discard abilities. If he blocks and he triggers his ability is going to last while he remains in play. So he's kind of like the first territory class character that might have ever seen play. But he's not territory class in the sense that when you play him down in your territory, his ability triggers. You have to put him in battle. Amalekites Slave, you can exchange this card for Evil Human in your deck. Let's get to the Babylonians. King Belshazzar says you may search discard pile for Belshazzar's banquet, may ban to a Babylonian, except a king. So getting to play Belshazzar's banquet twice is really strong. This says discard all evil characters in battle, protect all lost souls from rescue by hero this turn. So if you're able to do that twice, that's just really backbreaking in some scenarios. Nebuchadnezzar, this card's busted. It says if no Daniel hero is in play, search deck for an OT Crimson card and add it to hand or battle. Cannot be negated. So just being able to add any OT Crimson card to battle cannot be negated is just crazy. This card is crazy. Nergalsharezer. If another Babylonian is in play, OT enhancements used by Nergal cannot be negated. Again, having a character who, if you play enhances on him, those enhancements can't be negated, or that's really strong. Imperial Guard 10-11, you may discard an artifact from an artifact pile or take an OT Crimson card from reserve. So this deck does have a reserve. This is the only card that touches the reserve, and we'll get to those cards later. But just a really flexible card. Big numbers. You can band in with King Belshazzar. Astrologers. Reveal the top or bottom card of deck. If it's evil, take it. Opponent must discard a card in their territory. So just like a low number, 3/3. Pretty good for getting initiative and playing cards. This card's really good. Astrologers paired with a banquet. That's really solid. Okay, let's get to the enhancements. Dream. Holder may interrupt the battle, draw 3 cards, and play next enhancement. Reminds me of this card. Interrupt the battle, may draw 3 cards and play an evil enhancement. Yeah, that reminds me of this card. Interrupt the battle, draw 2 cards. If used by Babylonian, you would play the next enhancement. Cards like this are some of the most powerful things you can be doing in Scroots. Drawing cards. Just imagine if I go this, draw 3 cards, then I play this, draw 3 cards, then I play this. I'll just draw 8 cards. That's crazy. Yoke of Iron. Capture a character or up to 3 characters if used by Babylonian to a player. Probably one of the best capture cards in the game. Just like playing 1 card, capture 3 characters, and they can be anything. They can be humans, they can be demons, they can be angels, they can be heroes, they can be evil characters. And not only do they not go to your territory, you can put them in the opponent's land of bondage. So fantastic roots card. Territory class says, may place a human beneath owner's deck. If used by multi-color magician, you may place this card beneath deck. So I guess astrologers can use this card over and over again. And the deck's playing stocks. Effect like stocks is really powerful. Getting able to capture any character and getting to use that twice. Item Crate is being used to give you some sort of card velocity and help you find the cards you want and get rid of the cards you don't want. Captured Ark is good against other artifacts. Negate and underdeck their stocks, or whatever troublesome artifact is giving you problems. Drawn Sword says, if used by a Babylonian, you may discard opponent's character in the field of battle. Cannot be prevented. So this is really good against fight by the numbers offenses. If the opponents are just trying to prevent everything you're doing, you just take out your drawn sword and just shank them a little bit. As far as dominance, you got Angel of the Lord, discard any evil character in play. Christian Martyr, discard any hero in play. Destruction of Nehushtan, negate and discard 1 active artifact. Falling Away, select any redeemed soul and return it to your land of bondage. Grapes of Wrath, I'm not going to read this one. You guys can read it. I'm not going to read it. New Jerusalem, this is the OG one. Play this card simultaneously with Son of God and rescue an additional Lost Soul. And of course, Son of God. Lost Souls, we have Lost Souls. This one's great for getting soul generation, making sure your opponents don't soul drought you out of the game. This card's good early game. If you have a card like Astrologers, you could chump block with it, and then this card would get underdecked. Color Guard will protect all your Babylonians. Just don't put Amalekites Slave in play when you're playing this. The OG Angel Wars Revealer looks at the top 2 cards of opponent's deck and puts any Lost Souls in play and the rest on the bottom. The female-only Lost Soul can only be rescued by female or Son of God. And this New Testament only can only be rescued by a New Testament hero. The Son of God can't even rescue this, which is crazy. The Wanderer can exchange with other Lost Souls in territory. And the Hopper hops over to opponent's territory. So that's the main deck. Let's take a look at the reserve. Gomer, character may ban with any male evil character this turn. So this is good if you have a really juicy target in opponent's territory. You can ban to that. This Babylonian soldiers can negate and discard artifacts or draw cards. Head of Gold can capture X humans, where X is the number of Babylonian characters in play. Lurking allows you to interrupt the battle and ban to an evil character. Great Image discards all heroes in opponent's territory after the battle. Desecrate the Temple. I guess it's situationally good. You can maybe snipe a good dominant from opponent's deck. but usually it's good for just taking out artifacts. Carried into Exile says capture 2 humans effused by Babylonian. Winged Lion may band to a Babylonian, immune to Green Brigade, King Merodach Balaam. You may look at opponent's hand and play a Crimson Enhancement with a Second Kings or Isaiah reference. So I guess we have a Second Kings. Maybe there's more in the main deck, but whatever. And Nebi's Pride says interrupt the battle, reserve all characters in battle. I would say Nebuchadnezzar's Pride is probably the card he was getting the most with his deck. This card is really good paired with a really big character. They try to play their battle winner, you just interrupt it and reserve everybody. So that's Brian Jones' deck that I used to win Mr. Classic. I hope you like it. I'll see you next time.